right, here we go. Good morning, folks. Uh, I am here once again for another morning of Saturday Sentiments. It's a little early. Hey, Dr. Tony, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Send you a little wave there. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to have the opportunity to have this platform to be able to share what's on my heart. So let me start with just a few announcements. First, for the folks that are on Instagram, I want to let you know that this week we hit 450 followers. So I'm excited about that. Thank you for all of the folks who have just signed on recently. Hey, Nayoka. Good morning, sweetheart. And so I'm thankful for that, and definitely thank y'all for the love. It means a lot. Also, last night I played for an event for a DC-based organization. It's called Places of Worship Advisory Board for the DC Department of Health. The great thing is I was able to do it from right here. It was a virtual event. So yeah, it was really nice. Beautiful, beautiful event. And I didn't have to travel to DC. I could stay right here. So that was great. And I got to share some of the jazz and the spirit music. And I believe some people even uh, purchased the music digitally or by CD. So that was a great blessing. Also, I was on a very, very exciting virtual meeting this week. Some of the stuff, you see, I'm smiling. Some of the stuff I'm going to have to keep under my hat and wait to share until there's more to tell. But let me just say there's some new doors opening up that are very exciting, and I'm grateful. What I can say is that on Christmas Day, of course, I want you to spend time with your family on Christmas Day. It'll be on later and all that stuff, but there's a show called The Power of One on this new network. It's called Promote Her TV. You can download the app on your phone, Promote Her app, like PROMOTEHER, and also there's I guess a TV station or on Roku, an app on Roku, also called Promote Her TV. This and it's also on Facebook, so it will be streaming on all three of those on Christmas Day. Doing some of the music from Jazz in the Spirit, an interview with Dr. Rollins Fells, who has a company called the Spirit of Excellence out of uh, Northern Virginia, and she's launched some really great things that are going on. So that's going to be happening on Christmas Day. So I want to let you know about that. And then and there's more. There's just more. I just have to tell you later. But today I said that I was going to be talking about family. That's huge. About career, balance, holidays, and the greatest of these, love, which comes from the scripture. And the question that I raise is, what does all that have to do with Jazz in the Spirit? And the answer is everything. That's what I really want to talk about today. Hello, ma'am. How are you doing? So some of you may remember a few weeks ago, I shared my larger than life vision from God about what Jazz in the Spirit was all about. And the very first sentence, and I got it right here so I could refer back to it. The very first sentence says, Jazz in the Spirit is about love and giving, in parentheses, 1 Corinthians 13. So you could really stop right there, because there's so much in that. I'm going to be talking a lot about the word give today because it's critical. You know, love and giving really go together. and anybody who would tell you differently is lying. Okay, so just that word to give and the word to love are very, very closely related because, love is not just a concept, it's something that you do. So that's kind of, the underpinning of what I'm going to be talking about today. So let me give a couple of instances here. Okay, so this particular shirt, it's if you, I guess everybody can see it. It's kind of gray and kind of, got the little washed out look. Um, it's a gift from my son from several years ago when he was younger, and he wanted his dad to have something kind of stylish. So it's probably not something I would have chosen for myself, but I love this shirt. Once I tried it on and stuff, it fit me really well. I was like, okay, well, thank you, son. It was a gift. It was a gift from a son to his dad. And, those kinds of things mean the world. Those of you that are dads, especially, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or at least I hope you do. The other thing I wanted to show you was this mug. It's a mug that I actually got for my wife as a souvenir, and I got it from the what is it, the Black History Museum in Birmingham, Alabama. When I went down there to visit for one of the Gospel Music Workshops of America. But what it says is, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And that was a quote from the great Frederick Douglass, who was a world-renowned abolitionist, great orator, and just, a very historic figure. So if you have not heard of him, please Google him, learn what you can about him. And that's related to what I'm saying here too, because what we do with and in our families, good morning, Sister Edmonds, thank you, is so critical. What we do in the formative years has a lot to do with what happens in the later years. And I was fortunate to have had a, a, a loving family environment when I was when in my formative years, and then a very strong and supportive extended family that is still close today. And I'm very happy with the household that we have now. It's a blessing, and it's not perfect by any means. We have been through all kinds of ups and downs, just like anybody else. But I really believe that the key to whatever it is we've been able to achieve has been those two words, love and giving. And I'm going to throw one more in there too, which is related, forgiving. Okay? Because did you ever notice that the word forgive has 7 letters, but 4 of them are the word give? Ever thought about that? And I think it's important to think about things like that because it's right there. But, you cannot forgive until you're willing to give. Okay? You got to be able to, it's almost like a debt that has to be paid, and you have to be able to release the debt in order for that person to feel free. And actually, it goes to you too. In order for you to feel free, you got to release that, which means you have to give. And it doesn't mean that everything is okay. It just means that you're not holding on to the debt, like I want you to pay every time I think about this. That's a debt, So, so more about that later. But did you also notice that the word gift and the word give sound very similar? Ever thought about why? Well, in a sense, a, it is actually a gift to give, to be able to give. The old adage says it's more blessed to give than to receive. Um, and it's true when you just try it. When you give something, some whether it doesn't have to be something material. Just when you give of yourself, and it's you're not looking for anything in return. There's something that happens. There's a blessing that happens, and you feel better. You feel like, oh, wow, that was really, and would that we could spend more time doing that and less, more giving and less taking. I really believe it would make our world a better place. I'm going to show you something else. Okay, this is especially for the brothers. All right, you see this? All right, it's not about the bling. It's just a ring, um, but it's a wedding ring. And even though it's very light, it's also very heavy because it is a covenant relationship made before God and before, the state wherever you live, that the state of wherever you live, that is a contract that's actually saying what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. And when you give your word like that, um, it means a lot, so and that doesn't mean that everything is always going to be perfect, or you know you can make mistakes happen all the time because we're human creatures, but but that's where the giving also comes in, and the forgiving. So so I'm touching on a few different things at the same time, but it'll all start to come together soon. Um, the other thing, I talked about this shirt, right? And that's just a symbol of fatherhood. And I've never been a mom, so I can't speak on what it's like. Y'all have to tell me. But I've seen, what it looks like from my eyes. But fatherhood, I can say definitively, is an amazing, amazing responsibility. Just to think, there's this little person that you can hold, at one point, that grows into somebody that can hold you. I'm saying this because I got a big old football player as a son now, and it's amazing to watch that transformation. And I've also got my beautiful adopted daughter Naoka on the line, and it's been amazing to watch her transformation. So this is a blessing. So a few things that I wanted to go to from a few years ago, not a few years, more than that, when he was little. Like um, my son's been playing football since he was about 5 or 6. And for many of those years, I got to probably a lot of his games, but there was still a significant number that I missed because I was working as a musician, and that's one of the hard parts about doing this. So for those of you that are in a relationship of some sort with a musician, just know that it's not easy for us. I know it's not easy for you. It's We're very easy to love, um, but we're also very difficult to love. And I'm saying that as a person who is one, because there's this there's this special quality that makes us who we are. It's not just a job. It's not just a you know something that we do to make money, if we even do it to make money. Some people are musicians and just choose not to make a career of it, but that's who they are. But really, when it comes down to it, it's a special it's a special gift. Some would call it an anointing that really literally comes directly from God. And it's a touch. It's a little, it's something It's like an inpouring of the Spirit of God that's just sitting in them, that just comes out. And, it really defies explanation until you just see it in action. And why I say that is because it's a special. I said in my little vision thing, Miss Helen Baylor is a national gospel artist. She had a song called "Music is a Voice of God," and I really believe that's true because there's just something that happens, and I can't even explain it myself. Dr. Tony, you're a musician, you know what I'm talking about. There's something that happens when you're given that special ability, that special talent, and it changes lives. It makes people do things. And don't get me wrong, this is not just gospel music or sacred music I'm talking about. I'm talking about music in general. Because think about what happens when you go to the party, right? And you hear that song come on. The first thing you want to do is you want to jump up and dance, or you get it puts you in a mood. Okay? That's spiritual. It influences you to do something. And so because of that, it makes us musicians kind of strange people. We're we're walking around humming all the time. We're tapping on things. We seem like we're someplace else. When we get in the zone, it's almost like you can't even reach us because we're just someplace else. And that's not always easy to take. Some people love to be around musicians because they like the energy, they like to feel cool and all that. But people who have lived with them, who have been married to them, who have, had long-term relationships with musicians, well, that's a different thing entirely. So, not to be entered into lightly by any means. So, hey, Brother Marcus, good to see you. Um, it's it's no joke, y'all. But I still say that it's worth it. And a key to it, just coming right back to the same theme, is about love and about giving. Because you can't have, well, I'm going to say this, you can't have good music without love and giving, truthfully. But you can't have good relationships with musicians or be as a musician yourself. You can't have a good relationship without love and without giving. And those two things are really at the core of family as well. So we're talking about, you know, relationships between people. We're talking about parenting relationships. We're talking about all of it when we use the word family. And then what's interesting is I used to, going back to Richard for a second, I used to miss more of the games than I wanted to when he was younger. And there were these two strong pulls that were in conflict for me. There was the pull of wanting to be present in his life, wanting him to see me at all these things. But then there was the pull of provision. As his dad, it was my responsibility to provide for him. And so the special skill that I was given was to be able to make money playing music. And the thing is that where the opportunities were, for the most part, were on the weekends. And so that's when most of my work takes place, which is when most other people are relaxing. That's their entertainment or their leisure time. So it was a conflict and it was a pull, and it was very hard for me, to kind of miss out on a lot of that. But again, I am fortunate and I am blessed that now he has a full scholarship to East Carolina University. Amen, somebody. So I do not have to provide for his college education. And so now my focus can shift a little more in terms of the presence. And so I've made a decision that I'm going to attend more of his games. Actually, I made that decision this year that I was going to, I think I only missed maybe one or two of his games this year. And next year I said, listen, it's going to be his junior year. I'm going to go to all of them. So yeah, I'll take something of a financial hit from it. I already know that. But that's a decision that I'm making as his dad that, that right now I'll say the ministry of presence is a stronger pull for me right now than that of provision, because I know that there's some provision that's already happening for him, which again is just a blessing. So, and I know that that's not the case for everyone. And some of us, we still got to grind it out. And, that's as the old expression goes, you do what you got to do. But, but this is my story. And I understand that pull. And once again, it's not easy. It's not easy to have to tell your son, listen, have a good game, dude. I got to go to work, and you're not going to see him until the next day because you're 4 hours away playing for somebody's wedding that you don't even know, or playing for some kind of engagement, sweating and carrying on and using your special gift to influence people to do stuff for money, and that's whether it's a secular job, whether it's, you're playing gospel music, but in a concert setting, it's basically the same kind of feeling because it's work any way you do it. Um, so that's, I've been doing that for years, but it's difficult. It's difficult on the relationship. It's difficult on the family. It's a strain, So, for people who wonder why musicians charge what they charge, it's because of all of the stuff that it costs us. There's a serious cost to doing this. There's a serious cost to being a musician that dedicates his music to God. There's a cost. So you have to be willing to carry that cost if you're going to do this, especially professionally. Um, so, so we have love, we have giving, we have gifts, we have forgiving. Um, and I want to share a couple more things from my vision statement. Okay, so in the vision statement, it says, Jazz in the Spirit is about uniting family. Jazz and gospel both descended from the spiritual, but had been separated by external forces, just like black families during slavery, and are now reunited in this music. So it's right in there, okay? And then check this out. It is about community empowerment. It is about mentoring, helping someone else grow and succeed. It is the opposite of the gimme mine mentality. It is more interested in giving than receiving. It is selfless love being shared. It is not about individuals, but a greater purpose. It is an expression of the principles of Kwanzaa. It is based on the Christ-like servant leadership model. It does not try to put itself ahead of everyone else and everything else. It does not set up a hierarchy. It does not have to compete. It tries to help everyone succeed together. Would you believe each and every one of these sentences can be applied to the family? Think about it. Selfless love being shared. Empowerment, the opposite of the gimme mine mentality. Remember, I just talked about giving rather than taking. The servant leadership model, which just means the last shall be first. That's what Jesus taught. Putting in order to be exalted, you have to be willing to go low, and to serve others rather than focus on being served. It's crazy, but it's the truth. It's like the deep, 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 deep truth. Another part of this vision statement said, its parents, meaning Jazz in the Spirit's parents, its mother, gospel, and its father, jazz, and all its aunts, uncles, and cousins, blues, funk, soul, R&B, rock and roll, hip hop, and others, as well as those yet unborn, are all in response to this conflicted life. Okay, so who helps you to navigate through the life that we live here but your family, right? Now, of course, there are situations where your family, is part of the conflict, and that's real. That's just real. But I truly believe that our families are the key to it all. They are what we have been given to help understand basically what heaven is like, because we're different and yet we're one. You know, we are all descended from one, and we look back to that same one. And we all contribute to what makes it great. And so, even though we're made so differently, we are so closely connected. So, all those things could very well be said about family. There's another part of this I wanted to share. Okay, it says the vision, meaning the vision for Jazz in the Spirit, will be successful when it helps reunite families, inspires people to live better, healthier lives, when it helps to create community, when people begin to work together instead of apart. So, you know, family ties are it's intimately woven into the fabric of the vision for Jazz in the Spirit. And so all of these things that I'm talking about, and this could easily be another one too, are are all tied in to what makes family family, and just how important and how powerful these relationships are. Have you ever noticed that so many of the influence that we're under now as a society pull on families, like pull us apart rather than together? Like we have all these little devices, right? And everybody's got their own. So each person can go into their own little world. But what happens is you split off into your own little corners, right? We also have, the idea of going to work and going to school. It's like a separation. So, the adults go to work so they can make money, right, to bring home to pay for the house or to pay for the wherever they live. The kids go away to go to school so they can hopefully learn character, they get educated and so on. And what's supposed to happen is everybody's supposed to come back, right? And we're supposed to kind of like, okay, we get together, we have dinner, we have whatever. But then you got TV, which, people like to watch different things. You got all these other little distractions and things pulling. If you're a musician, you got gigs, you got rehearsals, you got all these things that happen in the evening most of the time when everybody else is supposed to be having their family time. So there's so many different things pulling on us, pulling us apart. And we wonder why we're so anxious. We're so disturbed a lot of times, why we can't find peace, why we're just irritated for no good reason. It's because the thing that's been put in place to help to settle us and to help keep us straight is being pulled on. That's not by accident, y'all. And let's be clear, there are forces at work that are trying to destroy us. Spiritual forces, okay? Y'all know probably the scriptures, wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers of dark places and all that. There's stuff that's trying to make us crazy and trying to make us act like we shouldn't be acting. But one of the greatest countermeasures in creation is the family. And so let us not ever take that for granted. It is so important. It is critically important. And you know what? I'm even going to say this. Although making money is important, and of course you have to eat, you'll find sometimes that the things that you think are so important right now, just the urge to go and do and make that one thing happen, cause you to miss out on the moments that are actually much more important. The long-term things like the relationships that you have with your family. So try to never sacrifice those relationships for your family. And in if you are a family member of someone that is in the arts or something like that, you have to be patient with them. You have to, learn to love them. You have to learn to forgive them when times that they just can't physically be there, or times that they just seem to be someplace else. It doesn't let them off the hook. They have a responsibility to you, but you also have to be willing to love and give to them. Give them the space to be themselves, because you know what? When you do, when they come back to you, there will be a synergy that is greater than it could have been if you didn't. Okay? It takes both sides. But both have to follow the same principle: to love and to give, as well as to forgive. And that is truly, truly a gift. So there's a lot more I could say, but I want to make sure that I don't bore y'all. Just take too much of your Saturday. But I want to say this one more thing, and I'll go ahead and close. And listen, if you guys have comments to make, feel free to do so. But this was an opportunity that came to me a few weeks ago. There was a friend of mine who I'm not going to put out there, but the friend of mine was going through a situation, and I believe the Lord gave me an opportunity to help them. That's still actually moving. So here's what I wrote, and if you all, maybe I'll write this out at some point or share it. But this is what I wrote. It's called "A Word on Family and Forgiveness During the Holidays," because we're in the holiday season right now. We can choose our friends, but we can't choose our family. That's chosen for us. Inevitably, as we move from the dreamy idealism of childhood to the stark reality of our adulthood, we can become disillusioned and maybe even resentful as we discover our family's imperfections and personal failings. But may we never forget that, like it or not, we are who we are because of our families. The good, the bad, and the ugly aspects of us and them. So, even though our different or changing views may bring us into conflict and cause us to get angry at or frustrated with them, especially during the holidays, let us keep in mind that they are always a part of us, and we are always a part of them, no matter what. We may even feel like distancing ourselves or want to stand in judgment sometimes. But if we actually choose to do that, we have no more claim to the moral high ground than they do. The old expression is still true: two wrongs don't make a right. Here is a better way: choose to love anyhow. Forgive them, even if they don't ask for it or don't think they're doing anything wrong. Why? Because we need to love and forgive in order to be healthy and whole human beings. That's it. Whether they deserve it or not, We must love and forgive our families because when we do, we also love and forgive ourselves. We are part of each other, remember? Then we can better receive love and forgiveness from others. It may not seem to make sense, but it works. Don't believe it? Try it and see how different it makes you feel deep inside. Be good to yourself, be good to your family. Love and forgive. Peace and joy will surely follow. Happy holidays. Right? So that was a piece that I shared with a friend, and they told me that it was really, really helpful to them. And so I'm just praying that it's helpful to you too. And y'all, this is a year like none other. So if there were ever a time for families to come together, for each of you that are on here, to take what you have heard, process it, and let it transform what you do, or let it strengthen what you already do, and share that, and just watch what happens. Family, love, giving, music, all of it comes from the same source. It all comes from God. Okay? And when you do it, especially when you combine all those things, when you have music that inspires to love, to forgive, to gift, and to just forgive, it's powerful and it's truly, truly life changing. Just watch what happens. And that's my dream for Jazz in the Spirit as a whole, for my specific, music and whatever direction that takes. That's why this is about more than just CDs and downloads and streams, y'all. This is about life and changing the way we think, and influencing us for the better. And I really believe that you all that are on here stand for the same thing. And so I appreciate you just taking this time with me to hear me out, and let me know what you think. Send me emails, info@jazzinthespirit.com. Let me know what you think. Pray for me because this is not easy. I'm saying this, but in many cases, I'm saying it to myself too. And I will pray for you too, because we need each other more than ever now. And I really believe that there's some great things that are on the way when we do this. So God bless each and every one of you. And this Jazz in the Spirit, people who make a difference, is just a bigger extension of my family. So I hope that you all will think of me in the same way. Okay, and let me know. You don't always have to just ask me something from a professional standpoint. Just say, hey, how you doing? Or tell me how you're doing and what's going on with you. I want to know. All right. So thank you guys. I got to get ready for rehearsal and, get ready for church tomorrow and all that stuff that I always have to do. But I'm glad that we were able to take this time. Remember the little admonitions from Mr. Frederick Douglass? Remember all of these things that we've talked about, and certainly look back on it. You can write it down if you need to. Make notes, whatever, and share with me your thoughts as well. So thank you guys. This has been Saturday Sentiments on 12/12, December 12th, 2020. And, we'll be back on Monday with our another Movie Mondays. But y'all have a blessed holiday season, and we'll talk to you soon. All right? Have a great Saturday. All right now.